Hey beautiful people, I'm Yolanda Johnson-Bryant, and this is The Other Side of the Dash. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, comment below, and share my video. If you are not new here and you've come here often, thank you for coming back and thank you for the support. I love you. Today's video, as the title implies, is about my hysterectomy. So many of you know I've been talking a while now about getting a hysterectomy, and I finally went ahead and I hit the bullet and got it. You guys, I live in North Texas and it is hotter than I don't know what. It's 96 right now. Hey Google, what's the feels like temperature?
Currently it feels like 103 due to humidity.
That's ridiculous. I'm offended. 103 feels like, and the high today is supposed to be 100. So the excuse me, the feels like temperature is going to be probably around 108, 109 like it was yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the hysterectomy. I do want to let you guys know that I have done a life update video as well, because my family and I have been sick for the last 2.5 weeks or more. I don't know why we can't get rid of this cough or anything. I don't know what it is. So if I'm coughing, please just excuse me in advance. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you guys know, that I have been talking about getting this hysterectomy for a while, because I have severe anemia and I've always had a problem with fibroids throughout my body. I've had like 3 or 4 in my breast, lumps in my breast removed, and then I can't exactly pinpoint when it was, but it has to be at least 15 years ago, at least, that I start noticing the heavy bleeding. My periods would last like 10-15 days. I would just bleed non-stop. I mean, it would not let up. And then I would probably have a couple weeks between periods and then come back again. And then I did notice probably about 5 years ago, the bleeding got so bad I started having blood clots. And when I say blood clots, they were probably about that big. That's huge. To the point where I would have to get in the shower or sit on the toilet. But if I got in the shower, I was trapped, because I would try to wait. I would just stand there in the shower and the clots were just coming down, coming down, coming down. And I was just bleeding. It's like it was just nonstop. It's like I couldn't get out the shower in enough time to put on a pad and a tampon to stop it or slow it down. So I would be trapped in the shower, or if I was on the toilet, and I'm sorry, this might be a lot of TMI, I'll try to be as sensitive as possible. Also, I'll try to block some things out, because from my understanding, YouTube is kind of flagging some types of sensitive material. So we don't want to get flagged. This is for educational purposes. If I was trapped on the toilet, I would have to sit there until my legs went numb, until I could figure out some way to jump up real quick, you know, have a pad in my under. And so I wore the real thick Always pads, and I wore the Ultra tampons. So I had to wear a tampon and a pad, and I had to change them to like every 10-15 minutes. That's how bad it got to be. And this would last, it started out lasting probably about 2-3 weeks, and then maybe a week between periods, and then it would come back again. Then maybe about, I think it was the year before I left San Diego. I used to live in San Diego, sorry. Before I left North Carolina. You guys know we moved from North Carolina to Texas. About a year or so, maybe 2 years before we moved from North Carolina. Actually, it was 2 years. It got so bad, you guys. I was bleeding. I had no days off. I was bleeding 30-31 days a month. And I should have had stock in the feminine products companies, because like I said, I had to wear a tampon and a pad together for any kind of relief. That's when I wasn't trapped in the shower or trapped on the toilet. And it was like I was constantly spending my money. And you guys know those products are not cheap. So I was constantly spending my money on that. So I had talked about getting a hysterectomy when I was there in North Carolina. I had talked to my doctor. We had scheduled the consult. But a couple of things happened that just made it not possible. So I wasn't aware that I had to pay $300 up front, even for the consultation, not before the surgery, just for the consultation. I also had to pay $300 for the hospital because that was considered a facilities fee. That was like $600, not to mention any other fees that I had to pay because I had to get clearance from my cardiologist. That would have been some more money on top of the good insurance that we already have. So I got there the day of the consultation. Mind you, I said it's not the surgery, the day of the consultation where they're going to consult with you. And my doctor, who I had respect for up until that time, but you know, it is what it is, told the nurse, the front desk, to tell me that if I didn't have the $300, that I would have to reschedule. And I could have rescheduled. I offered to run across the street and get the money. It wasn't that I didn't have the money. It was just I didn't know that I had to have it for the consultation. So I asked, well, can I run across the street to the ATM machine and come back? Well, no, you have to reschedule the appointment. And I said, well, when is the next appointment? It was like 2 or 3 weeks out. I'm like, you know what? We're not doing this because our house had went up for sale. We put it on the market, and I think that weekend it went up on the market on Friday. And I think that Saturday we had multiple offers. So that's how fast things were going. We were trying to get our house ready to sell. We sold it. We had to come down here and start our building process for the house down here. That's a whole nother story. You guys can, I'll link the house fiasco video down below if I can remember. And then we had to move into an apartment while we wait for this house to be built, or for our other house to be built. And then it got just so hectic. I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait and revisit it once we get down to Texas. So once we got here, I think I decided, you know, at first I was like, I wasn't sure. Part of me wanted to back out and say, you know, maybe not, because the bleeding had slowed down. It didn't stop, it slowed down. So they were like, let's say if my period lasted 3 weeks. 2 of those weeks, the blood clots were heavy and I was doing like I said previously. Then that 1 week, it might be just a real heavy period. And then I might have a week off. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's getting better. But what happened was I kept having to have iron transfusions and things like that. I was severely anemic, and my doctor was like, look, you got to make a decision on what you want to do because you could eventually die. So they sent me to a cancer center for some tests, and so I started doing some research, and I started thinking to myself, well, maybe I'll just hold off. Maybe I'll just hold off. And probably around, when was it? January. My period for January, it did not end. It got worse. I was on the toilet again, stuck in the shower again. And, you know, it was just so embarrassing to me to have my husband, my intimate partner, come in and try to help me clean up a mess. I mean, a mess, a bloody murder scene like mess. And to it was embarrassing as a wife, as an intimate partner. So finally, I went back to my doctor in February, and she was telling me the various kinds, and we decided on which one we wanted to do, and that I was going to actually go through with this. Because at first I was scared. I'm like, what if I don't wake up? What if, you know, I'm diabetic, I have all these other health issues, I have heart issues. What if I don't wake up? So I was scared. And she said, well, we're going to go ahead and go forward with it if you want to. And I said, yes. She said, but we do have to get clearance from your cardiac doctor. So in February, I went back to see her again because she gave me a cooling off period just to make sure I wanted to do that. So the end of February, we scheduled a biopsy for March. so when now I had heard this before. She had told me this before last year when I went to go see her, and she was telling me I should consider it. So when I went this time in March, she did a biopsy. And I'm sure you guys know what a biopsy is when they take material or pieces of tissue from the actual fibroid to check it for cancer or other things. And she said it doesn't look good. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And she said it doesn't look good. If you don't get this done, she said you could die. So she said, and then she said this, we thought it was just one. We thought it was just one. She said, this one is so big. I can see it at your vagina opening. And she was asking me, she said, is it painful during sex? Or let me change that wording. Is it painful during, I don't know what's the wording I should use. Is it hurt? Does it hurt during party time? And I use that only because I saw somebody else who used the word and they got flagged. So I'm going to say party time. So she said, does it hurt during party time? And I said, actually it does. And she said, it's right there. She said, all you had to do was, you know, open your legs and I can see it. She said, it's right there blocking the vagina. And I'm like, oh my God. She said, this is not good. If you don't get it taken care of now, she said, you could die. And so we went ahead and scheduled, actually we hadn't scheduled it yet. We planned to go ahead and get it scheduled because then, like I said before, I had to get clearance from my cardiologist who I hadn't seen since Greensboro. And they charged me, even with my insurance, they ran all these tests on me, and I had to pay for those. And then I had to come back another day and get tests that ran from like 8:30 in the morning to like 4 o'clock in the evening. Different tests, back-to-back different tests, different scans, this, that, and this and that. Stress test and chemical tests. And they did all that, and everything, the doctor told me, my cardiologist told me, you know, you guys know I had 2 heart attacks before, that the scar tissue had healed, and she said you don't see that too often, and so she cleared me for the surgery. So I went ahead and made the appointment for the surgery. So the surgery was April 25th because we thought we were going to be able to get the surgery like that same week as soon as I got clearance for the from the cardiologist, but my doctor got called in for jury duty, so we had to move it. So the appointment was set for April the 25th, and I had my consultation appointment that Friday before. So when I went in, basically they just ran some blood tests, some urine tests, made sure I wasn't pregnant, you know, make sure that things hadn't gotten worse. And you know, it's because if it had gotten worse, I would have to go to the emergency room and have surgery, but it wasn't. They tell you, you know, certain things, instructions and whatever. So anyway, I have a list here, you guys, so I will be going off this list because it's a lot of information, and I'm pretty sure I'm not covering all the information, which is why I say I think it's going to be a long video, but we'll see. So anyway, so that Monday, April the 25th, I checked in. You have to bring someone with you that can drive, because you're not going to be able to drive afterwards, because they do give you anesthesia and put you under. And that's what they did to me. So the type that I had was called, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, I'll put it down here so you guys can see it. It is a robotic laparoscopic hysterectomy with bilateral salpingo oophorectomy cystoscopy. And that removes my uterus, my fallopian tubes, my cervix, and my ovary. So I don't have nothing up in there, y'all. Nothing. Unfortunately, it put me into a full-fledged menopause. Full-fledged, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But so some of the side effects, I guess I'll talk about that now. Some of the side effects, again, is that it puts you into menopause. Now, some people will have this procedure, and they may leave both the ovaries, or they may leave one. Now the big cyst was on my cervix, so they had to take my cervix, but I'm not having any more kids, so she said it would be best to take everything else because she didn't want cancer to apply itself elsewhere in that area. So we went ahead and took everything. So I'm in full menopause. I'm having the thing that I'm finding now is I have these hot flashes. You guys know I talked before about my hot flashes, and they were so bad. They're worse now, you guys. It's just like, it's just a permanent summer. I cool off with ice packs in my chest or in my back and my little fan or whatever. And then on top of the heat here in Texas, it just makes it worse. So that's one of the side effects. Another side effect is weight gain. But I have to partially blame that on myself. But it might be the result of another side effect, because you guys, I have been eating everything in sight. And so I have gained about 5 pounds. So now I was swollen because of the tumor. And once they, the cyst, fibroid. And in the surgery, but it's gone down, and I can tell a big difference. But I've been eating everything in sight, so I have not been helping the situation. So we'll talk about in a minute a lot of the other side effects that can happen, but that's probably my main side effect. If I can think of any more, I will. Oh, fatigue, y'all. This fatigue, I cannot get rid of this fatigue. Oh my God, I feel like life is just like, it's like, oh, you know, it's just, but I have to make myself just fake it until I make it. Just kind of like, I will feel sad. People are like, how are you doing? I'm fine, but inside I am dying. Another thing, I didn't think I would experience, it says depression. And I won't say go out there and say I have depression, but there have been a few days where I was just, for no reason, I just busted out crying. I'm like, what? No, we don't do this. So I'm definitely noticing some things. So just to give you an idea, today is June the 17th. So I am officially 8 months post-operation. So I have been cleared for everything. So I'm just waiting to see what other effects will come into play. And we'll talk about a hormone replacement and so on in a minute. So my life after the hysterectomy, you guys, I can say there is no more bleeding. Look, I have bags and bags and bags of tampons and pads that I can no longer use. Now, you guys do know my granddaughter lives with me, and she's of that age, but these are like a big thick ones, so I can't use them. So I'll probably take them to a shelter or something, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to worry about getting a pap smear every year. Now, I do need to get a checkup, you know, OBGYN checkup every year just to make sure nothing else is going on, but don't have to get any more pap smears or things like that. Haven't, even though I've been cleared, haven't tried party time yet. We'll see. Probably because I'm feeling fat, and it's like, you know how that goes. What else? If I can think of anything else, we'll get into it if something jogs my memory as we get into it down the line here. Let me backtrack a little bit. So the day of my surgery, my husband took me in, and they prepped me. I met my nurse. He was very great. If I can remember his name, I'll give him a shout out. I don't remember it now, but he was a great guy. The anesthesiologist came in. They were great. Everybody was just great. And they gave me anesthesia, took me to the surgery room, and the last thing I remember before the surgery was laying on the table, and that was it. I was gone. I don't even remember fully being comfortable on the table before I just was gone. And then after that, the next thing I remember is, oh, I gotta tell you guys, I'm sorry to interrupt because I have a bad one now, a migraine. I've been having migraines, and that is one of the side effects of the hysterectomy. So you may want to keep that in mind as well. But the last thing I remember coming out, so after the surgery, I remember being in a room, And my nurse telling me, you know, you need to wake up, you need to wake up. You can't go home until you wake up. And you guys, if you know me, I do not like hospitals. And if I don't have to stay, I'm not. So I was groggy and I was out of it. But I understood what he was saying. And I was like, he goes, you feel enough to get up? And I'm like, yeah, I feel, you know, y'all, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I had been hit by a bus. Excuse me. I felt horrible, but I lied because I wanted to get up out of that hospital. I wanted to be at home in my own bed. So my husband, and I'll put a little clip there. He gave a little update.
I'm out of surgery. She's not out of surgery yet. She's, they say everything is going well. They give you texts every now and then and let you know when everything is going well. So far, so good. She's still in surgery though. What I did, I was going to just wait there, but I said I'm gonna go pick up some flowers for her. So I picked up a bouquet of flowers, and I was going to get me something to eat, and then I'm getting ready to head back. Here's the flowers. I'll put them in a vase. These are some pretty flowers. So I bought her some flowers. Bought her a couple little snacks like some chips. Bought her some chips, and she won't be able to drink any of this for a while, but I figured she might want to drink at some point. So I just bought some margarita mix, and we'll have a drink later on, but not while she's on medication, of course not. So I'm going to eat something right quick. Then I'm going right back down to the hospital and check on her and just wait for her to go to recovery. So far, so good. Everything's going well. Hello, BFFs. I'm in the hospital now. I'm waiting for Grandma's recovery. The surgery went well, thank God. Thank God that everything went well. She's going to be sore for a while, but I'm just glad everything went well. And I wasn't worried. I was concerned, but I wasn't worried because I know that God had this, and He did what He was supposed to do. He did it for us, and I was accepting the victory that He given us. And I accept it, and I give Him all the praise and all the glory because He deserves it.
And I wanted to do this like a step-by-step, you know, from the start point to the end point. It just didn't work out that way. But I might put a little clip here of my husband giving an update while I was actually in surgery.
Update, Grandma is home. She's in pain. She's in a lot of pain, but she's resting now. I went out and got her pain pills and everything, so when she wake up and need them, I'll have them, but I know she's in pain. I hate to see her in pain. But we knew there would be some pain for a while anyway. But she's home safely, resting, and the little one should be coming home soon. So we'll talk to you soon.
And he took me to the car after the surgery, put me in. I don't remember the ride home, honestly. When we got home, I remember him taking me out the car and walking me into the house and sitting me on the bed. That's the last thing I remember for that entire night. Now, I was told the day of the surgery and during my consultation that this procedure would be a 6 to 8 week recovery. I expected something totally different than what I got. I mean, I was out of it, but I thought I would just be bedridden for 6 to 8 weeks, and that was not the case at all. So what I forgot to mention also is one of the questions that I had was, since I had no ovaries, where was my estrogen going to come from? And that's where they talk about hormone replacement therapy. There's different kinds. So what I ended up getting was a patch. So this is called estradiol. So you guys can see that there. There we go. They sent me home with a patch already on and a prescription for that, for some oxycodone and for ibuprofen. And so I came home with that. Like I said, I don't remember anything after my husband put me in bed until the next day. So I took the oxycodone. So how it was supposed to be was the ibuprofen was supposed to be taken every 6 hours, and the oxycodone was supposed to be taken every 4 hours. You guys, as much as I hear about drugs, prescription drugs, and overdosing and being addicted, I stopped taking that because I don't want to be dependent upon anything. So stop taking that. I did take the ibuprofen because I do take actually I take a leave over the counter every now and then. So I did take the ibuprofen. So you guys, the surgery, like I said, was Monday. I woke up Tuesday morning. I felt a little better, and my husband was adamant about me staying in the bed. I was adamant about me not staying in the bed. So I got up and found out that I was supposed to at least try to walk around. I was looking at the post-surgery instructions they sent home with you. I was supposed to walk around every 2 hours, so I just didn't, so I didn't get stiff or whatever. I don't know why, you guys. I missed my garden, and I went out in my garden and I started doing some work. And I think I probably overdid it because I started hurting in the vaginal area and so on. So of course my husband made me get back in the bed. So as I'm in bed, you know, I'm looking up more information on what to expect after the surgery. So this is further down in my notes, but I'm going to go ahead and address it now just because we're at this point. Do research, and I'll probably repeat this again. Do a lot of research. Ask the questions that you can. And I say that because with my doctor, and I'm finding that a lot of doctors are like this, they're only going to answer the questions that you're going to ask. And if you don't know the questions to ask, they're not going to answer them. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't know exactly all the questions to ask. So I didn't get all the information that I thought I was looking for. So when I came home, I started doing some more research. And I joined this Facebook group for, it's called Hysterectomy Sisters. And it has members that are, who just got the surgery, who've had it for a couple years, who are scheduled to get their surgery. And so we're all sharing our stories and our experiences and whatever. And so I found out a lot of things from this group. I learned a lot of things from these ladies. And of course, I shared my experience to try to help, you know, others that were coming up behind me with their surgery. So if you, I mean, unless you know everything, which I guarantee you don't, you know, find some support, find a support group. The Facebook group helped me a lot, you know, and there's more than just one, there's several. So you can get your answers, your questions answered, because I can guarantee you, your doctor is not going to tell you everything. And that was one thing that was frustrating for me. So in joining this group, I found out that there were several types of hysterectomy. So I'm going to read this off my list. There's a super cervical or subtotal hysterectomy. It's the removal of the upper part of the uterus, keeping the cervix. And there's a total, which removes the cervix, uterus, and fallopian tubes. And the radical, which removal of everything and then some, especially in cases of cancer. So in my case, I had everything removed. In some cases where they might remove one ovary, they might remove two, or they might just leave both, depending on what your situation is. So several reasons are cancer, y'all can't say this word, endometriosis, uterine fibroids, uterine relapse, and a whole lot more. So you guys can go do some research on your own. But there are several reasons why people get hysterectomies. You know, back in the day when I was coming up, I thought people got hysterectomy just because they were old. It was just something expected of an old person. To show you how ignorant I was. Go ahead and do your research and you'll find a lot of valuable information. Excuse me. There are several procedures that are used to conduct a hysterectomy. One is an open hysterectomy, which makes an incision usually across the belly or bikini line and removes uterus right through the belly. There's vaginal, which is very self-explanatory. There's laparoscopic, I believe this is just only by a robot. And then there's a excuse me. There's an assisted laparoscopic, which is what I had, and that's a robot assisted by a surgeon. Now let's talk about some of the risks. Y'all, I looked up on a website. If I can find that website, I'll put the link below. But there were tons of risks. So let me just read a few. Incontinence, vaginal prolapse, and that's where the vagina comes out of the body. Chronic pain, low sex drive, loss of orgasm, menopausal side effects, fatigue, weight gain, irritability, suicidal thoughts, insomnia, anxiety, arthritis, fibromyalgia, bowel obstruction, increase or decrease in facial and body hair, visual problems, and a lot more. So again, this is a small little tidbit of items that can be a side effect. But I don't want to discourage you, because belonging to this hysterectomy group, every person is different. There are people who said the sex drive is through the roof and things like that. The hair grew back, you know, when they had problems. And so don't just take this or any list and think, oh, that's going to be my life. No, every person is different. The thing is, though, that you don't know what your life is going to be like until you actually have it done. So but don't get discouraged. So looking at this list, I had many of these things before I even had the surgery. So we'll see how things go. Let me go over a few things that pertain to me directly. I think I said this before. I wish going in the doctor would have told me more information. I don't think it would have stopped me, because I needed to get it done or I was gonna die. I think if I knew more information, I would have been more equipped and prepared for the surgery. I mean, things went okay, but I just wish that I was able to prepare more, prepare my family more, prepare my house more, prepare whatever more, you know. But, you know, we made it through, so I'm cool. But, you know, if you are a person who likes, you know, your I's dotted and your T's crossed, or however you say that, get as much information as you can. Some people have to stay overnight. I didn't. It was the same day. So you may want to know, I'll tell you right now, don't come up in there trying to wear something tight, some jeans or whatever, a bra or whatever. You bring a look. What I did is I have these long dresses, and they're just loose. They're not moo-moos, but they're just like long dresses. They fit loose. I didn't wear a bra home. Look, they gave me some mesh panties. If I didn't have to wear those because after the surgery, I wouldn't have wore those either. And I just wore the dress home. That's all I wore. That's all I wore. So be very comfortable and prepare accordingly. If you're going to stay overnight, make sure you plan accordingly as well. Let's see, what's next? So another thing that I saw in my group is that a lot of people don't realize this is major surgery. You've been opened up, and in some cases, women's whole stomach has been opened up. You know, mine, I got 5 incisions in my belly, which I believe that's where the robot goes through, and then they pulled it out through my vaginal area. They were going to cut along my bikini line, but I had a C-section with my son 30 years ago, and the scarring was really bad on that. So they didn't do that. They just pulled it through my vaginal area. So it is major surgery, and I've just felt disheartened listening to some of the ladies say that their husband was very insensitive. They expected him to go back that week, a few days afterwards, start lifting heavy things. You shouldn't be lifting heavy things at all. You can hemorrhage. Just men being insensitive. Oh, you want me to get you another glass of water? I think you're milking this. And, you know, just make sure your spouse, your family, your children, they all know what to expect. And it may not even turn out that way, but just so they're prepared to, you know, for what's to come. And luckily I had my husband, he was there. My husband did everything for me, you guys. He cooked, he cleaned. Well, he didn't clean that well. Y'all know how men are. But still, I didn't have to do anything. He cooked, he cleaned. When I had to go to the bathroom, he helped me to the bathroom. He, you know, make sure I had a heating pad or ice pack on my stomach. He made sure I took my medicine on time. I mean, he was just on it. Now, my granddaughter,
bless her heart.
she said she was going to help, but you guys know how tweens are, so God bless her little heart. But my husband, y'all, he did everything. I didn't have to do anything. I needed something from the store. He went to the store. He did everything, and I thank him for that. When it was time to walk around, he made sure I got out the bed every 2 hours and walked around. He would walk with me and make sure I didn't walk too far. Because look, y'all, one day he, where was I at? I forget. One day I walked almost, well, not the whole neighborhood. I walked up a couple blocks, over a couple blocks, and back down a couple blocks. It was too much. I did too much, and of course he got on my case, which I expected, but that's fine. But he was, like I said, he was a great help. So as far as eating, for the first couple days, well, for the first day I ate soup because I wasn't sure what to expect. And then that second day, y'all, I just ate whatever. I just made sure I stayed away from spicy foods. I love spicy foods, but I just made sure that I stayed away. But I ate just about anything that I wanted to eat on the days after that. Like I said, on occasion, I would overdo things. You guys, I'm not the kind of person to just lay up in the bed and just not do anything. That's just not my style. I have to be busy. So I would walk, or I would go back into the backyard in the garden and do some work. And of course I would overdo it because once I started something, I didn't want to just stop, you know. And I was wrong here. I should have listened to my body and just stopped, but I didn't. I overdid it. So there's a couple times where I did spot a little bit. And so they put stitches in the vaginal area and they dissolve over time. And so on top of the hemorrhaging, they were expelling the whatever they do when they start to dissolve. They do expel some stuff. So you know, after that I did think I took it easy for the most part. I've had a couple appointments since my surgery. So I had my 2-week appointment, and that, so you're not supposed to have a bath. You're not supposed to have anything up in your party time. So that includes water. So I couldn't take a bath. So on the second week I was cleared to take a bath, but nothing else. When I went for my 7-week post-op appointment, I was cleared for exercise and everything else except for party time. And because my stitches are still, or were still expelling. And I don't even know if they're still expelling. I'm going to give myself a couple weeks. I told you guys, my husband and I haven't party timed. Mainly because, like I said, I was, you know, I feel I gained a lot of weight. But mainly because I talked to women who thought that they had expelled the stitches, and when they went to go party time, the husband could feel irritation because of the stitches still in there. So I just want to kind of wait just to make sure. I might even make another appointment to go in for a final post-op appointment just to make sure, because I don't want that get messed up at all. Because some people have had them tear and had to go in for a surgery. Look, I'm not trying to see another hospital whatsoever. So going back to the incisions I have, even though they took it through my party time, I had 2 stitches, and it's like everybody has the same same incisions like I did, who have had this type of surgery. So I have 2 on my right side, 1 at the top and 1 at the very bottom, 1 at my belly button and 1 at the top, and then 1 on my left side. I don't know what the meaning of that was, but my biggest fear, which came to pass, but it was not as bad as I thought it would be, was my skin keloids a lot. So if I get a scar, 9 times out of 10, it's going to keloid. And if you don't know what keloids are, they are when you get a sore or something, or a cut or whatever, and the skin heals, but there's a rise in the skin, and it doesn't look attractive. But I was afraid because this one over here, the incision, it was just huge. And then they put this surgical tape on there that eventually, you know, falls off over time. And then so when the tape fell off, I told my doctor I was afraid that the keloid was going to just be there and just be atrocious. And she said give it more time. There were still scabs on them, and they would eventually fall off. And they have fallen off. And I am saying I do have keloids, but they're not as big as I thought they were. So they're just little small keloids. They're noticeable, but they're not as big as I thought they were. So, you know, I'm cool with that. So let's talk again about a little bit about menopause. So the patches are supposed to be a form of hormone therapy, but because I had my ovaries, both of them removed. But like I said, this hysterectomy, because I had everything removed, threw me directly into menopause. So I am experiencing certain things. Like I said, the main things are the fatigue, the hot flashes, and the headaches. I'm sure there's a few more things that I just can't think of off the top of my head. Like I said, the hot flashes are even worse than they were before. And you guys know how hot they were because they were just horrible. The fatigue, I'm tired. I mean, at first I was like, well, I can't really tell because I was already fatigued beforehand. But I'm thinking about it. I think I'm a little more fatigued now, to the point where it's like I don't even, it's like it's hard for me to function some days because it's like I'm just so tired. Sometimes I'll go and get a full night's sleep and I wake up so exhausted, it's ridiculous. So I've tried different sleep aids. I try to drink here or there, wine or whatever, and I tried nothing, and it just, you guys, it takes a lot for me to get through my day. Like right now I'm sitting here, I'm tired. You ask me, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, but I am tired, I'm exhausted, and I got a headache. Again, I can't tell you guys if I'm losing weight because I've been eating everything in sight, which is a side effect of the hysterectomy and the menopause. Now I will say, today is what? June 17th, Friday. I started keto yesterday. I'm still on keto today. However, Sunday is Father's Day. Need I say more? So I guess that Monday I will strictly be on keto and getting back up there in my gym and doing some working out and exercising to try to get this. You guys, I'm trying to lose 50 pounds. My husband said that's too much, but look, I'm trying to stay here for as long as I can. So what else? My belly was swollen real bad after surgery, but I can tell the difference. Y'all, clothes that I couldn't even fit in when I lived back in North Carolina before we came up here, I can finally put on now. So I noticed a difference in the belly area. So I know that was, you know, it was so weird. It was almost like a scary movie to me. A woman was pregnant with, like, say, a demon baby. I'm sorry, but that's the only thing I can think of. And part of this side of the stomach was flat, while the other one would come out like in a hump. Like maybe a big hernia or something in her stomach. That's how it looked. My belly did. And it's gone down tremendously. So I can definitely tell a difference with that. Swelling hasn't gone completely down, I can tell. But like I said, I can fit into those clothes. So I'm going in the right direction. So with keto and the exercise, and I know that I can reach my goal. My nails, you guys, I can't do anything with my nails. They're brittle, they're breaking no matter what I do. I put hardener on it. You know, I try to keep nail polish off of them sometimes because the nail polish can make it worse, make them break off. But I don't like naked nails. I don't like to get my nails done with I don't like all that stuff. I just like pinks, and I just like pinks and like neutral colors on my nails. But even trying to wear the fingernail polish, it just doesn't work right. And like now they just look ugly, but they're brittle and they break off, and my feet, you guys. So with diabetics, you have to have your feet checked on a regular basis, and you have to inspect your feet on a daily basis because the skin can get so dry that it cracks, and it could cause a sore. And if you don't get that taken care of, it'll get so bad they might have to amputate your foot because you could get an infection in your foot. The skin on my feet since then has been so dry. I mean, I will do my feet. I give myself pedicures all the time, and I'll soak it in the water. I'll scrub it with a pedi machine. put lotion on them several times a day, but it doesn't matter. My feet are cracked. So I'm gonna probably have to go back to my endocrinologist and find out what I can do about my feet, because y'all, I'm not trying to lose no feet here. But my nails have gotten really thick, my toenails, and the skin. I mean, I try to wear my cute sandals, but I can't because I have dry skin all over the place. So, and it's too hot to be wearing, you know, tennis shoes or shoes that cover up your feet. So I got to figure out what I can do about that. Now I do, you know, I'll take suggestions, but I do use the Eucerin. I've used Eucerin for years and it's helped me. It was just like now I'm having to use it 3, 4, 5 times a day in order to have my feet look decent for like 30 minutes and then go back to being dry again. So if you guys have any suggestions on anything that's better than Eucerin, then, you know, please comment below and I'll try it. Other things that have been going on, you know, that I cannot attribute to the hysterectomy or menopause, and I'll talk about this more in my life update, but my family and I have been sick for a few weeks now, and it started with my husband, and then I got it, and then little bit got it, and we have not been able to shake it. I mean, we're not as sick as we were because we were like bedridden sick. We got COVID tested, we were tested negative, so there's lots of congestion. Like even now there's a cough, dry cough, but me, I still have a lot of congestion that you think it's going to go away, and then you wake up the next morning and it's the same thing over again. We don't know what's going on. The doctors say that it's just something that's going around. A lot of people have it. My OBGYN has it. A lot of people have it. So I don't know what this is that's going around, but I need it to go away because it's very irritating. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here before my battery dies again. I can't express enough how important it is to research what you're going to get done, the various procedures, the side effects, join some support groups so you can get support from other women. Now, let's say this is the problem, getting support from other women, especially a large group of women, because this hysterectomy group has, I don't know how many, but they have probably a few thousand people in this group. And the problem with few thousand women sharing their experiences, you're going to probably hear a lot of bad things when you shouldn't use that as your guide, because there are a lot of equally amount of success stories. You know, just take the good and take the bad. Just say, okay, it might be this, it might be that, I don't know. But a lot of people I see in there are like, well, these people, they had this happen, so I'm not going to get it done because this and that, and I'm scared. Look, everybody's different. Don't, you know, everything is not for everybody, or everything doesn't work the same way for everybody. You know, for example, a lot of people I know, they'll tell me when I work out, it gives me energy. Well, working out does not give me energy. It makes me sleepy. So, you know, different strokes for different folks. So don't let them discourage you, but I do encourage you to go in and just get the information. You know, a lot of times, you know, you may not know where to look for things to research, and you can find a lot of answers or a lot of information or a starting point to go to do your research in these groups. Find an offline support group. You know, they have AA meetings, they have support group meetings for hysterectomy. If they don't have one, start one. But I'm just saying, do your research, get some support. Watch a lot of YouTube videos. I unfortunately did not watch YouTube videos until afterwards. And I'm like, that's odd, because normally, you know, you guys know I'm up to date on my research. I watch YouTube videos, and for some reason, it did not dawn on me to watch YouTube videos for my hysterectomy. But I watched them after. I watched some actual procedures you know, so if you have a weak stomach, you may not want to watch some of those. Have people talking about their experiences after, what they expected. They'll give you some tips on what to look for when you go in. So do your research, watch videos, join a support group. Now decide if you still want to have children. There are some cases where the decision's going to be made for you. It's going to be a matter of either you're going to die if you don't get this done, or not so. So like I said, there are people who keep their ovaries and or they may keep one ovary. So make a decision with your spouse, significant other, or whatever, or God. Actually, God, make it with God and then with other people. What's best for you, and take that into consideration, because there might be instances where you might not be able to have children, and there might be instances where you can still have children. So make sure you're aware of all that. Ask questions. Don't feel like, well, it's a dumb question. No. The only dumb question is the one that has been unasked. So ask, because this is your life here. So ask all the questions that you can think of. Oh, this is another important thing. So the group that I belong to, and I was just surprised at this, a lot of them are from Canada. They've had their hysterectomies and didn't have to pay a dime. I did not know that Canada doesn't have, I may be saying this wrong, so don't come for me, please. They don't have or universal health care, or where people don't have to pay for it. I forget, but none of these ladies had to pay for their hysterectomy. But here in the United States, even with good insurance, you're gonna have to pay some more than others. So contact your insurance company to find out what is covered and what is not covered. That can also help you make your decision on what type you need to get. Also, excuse me, you guys. Also, I spoke earlier about me going to a consultation and having to pay that $300 in order to have that appointment. Find out from the doctors, from anyone associated with it, the hospital, what your out-of-pocket costs are going to be. I will tell you this, I paid a lot of money out of pocket. One thing I found interesting was when my anesthesiologist came and introduced herself, or himself actually, himself. And there was another doctor, she came and introduced herself. Anyway, the anesthesiologist came to introduce himself, and he said, asked did I have any questions, and went on and whatever. He said, well, don't worry, there's no out-of-pocket cost for you here. And I'm like, why would there be? He goes, sometimes there is an out-of-pocket expense for every step of the surgery. The anesthesiologist, the nurse, the assist doctor, whatever. He said, my insurance just happened to cover the kind of anesthesia they were going to give me. My insurance covered it. And I was like, are you serious? So be very clear up front. What is the hospital going to charge you? What is your doctor going to charge you? They have this thing called facilities fee, this fee, that fee. Just make sure you know what all your out-of-pocket expenses are going to be up front, so there are no surprises, and you can go in not stressed out about this situation. You can plan accordingly. Again, I said before, prepare beforehand. If you have daycare, you need to plan your meals, cooking, food delivery, cleaning, whatever. Plan that ahead of time, because I guarantee you, at least for the first couple weeks, you are not going to want to do a thing. Now, I felt I got, what do you call it? I was tricked. I was duped. That second day, I thought I could take on the world. Not so. So you're not going to be able to want to do anything and for a while. Now, I don't know everybody's situation. Luckily, I have a husband that works, and I work from home, but a husband that takes care of me. And so there was no discussion of me going back to work or whatever. So I wouldn't strongly suggest you going back to work the first week. I mean, but your situation is your situation. That's your business. Talk to your spouse and let them know, you know, have them in the room with you when the doctor is talking to you, because that gives them a better understanding. You can say what you're going to say, and they might think, oh, well, you're a woman, you're over dramatizing it or whatever. Have them in the room with the doctor at every appointment and every aspect of when you're asking questions or when they're explaining things, so they can get a better idea of, hey, this is not something like a procedure and I'm back to work. That's not how this works. You should get plenty of rest. However, I don't recommend staying in the bed all day. Your doctor should tell you to get up and move every 2 hours, and don't overdo it. But you know, you do want to get your rest, because this takes a lot out of you. And just get plenty of rest. Get it while you can. And then show yourself some grace, because I was telling my husband, I said, I feel bad because I'm used to getting up, cleaning up the house, cooking dinner, in my garden, going to run errands, doing household bills. My clients, luckily I had set them up before I actually went and had the surgery, so I didn't have to worry about them until the beginning of June. But I was just like, I feel less of a person or less of a woman because I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm used to doing this and that. And just give yourself a little grace in this whole situation. Feel the way you feel. Don't let anyone tell you it's not okay for you to feel the way you feel. They may not understand, and some people will understand. They will try to understand, and some people are not going to understand just because they don't want to understand. Just give yourself some grace on this. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. How many fibroids did I have? The doctor does not know. She said I had several. She forgot the count, but I had several. But I had that one big, huge one that was causing more problems than any of the other ones. Now, the size of it, I don't know the size. She didn't remember the size. I have the actual picture of it, but there's no, and I was looking through my doctor notes. You know, you can look at your medical records online. It doesn't say like as far as centimeters. Now, it has the centimeters of my cervix and the length and everything of my ovaries and all that, but it doesn't have it of the fibroids. But I'm gonna try to sneak a picture up here. I thought about doing this, but I said, they have to get an idea of how big this thing was, and I hope I don't get flagged from YouTube for this. If so, I'll just take it down. I'm gonna put a picture right here so you guys can get an idea how big this one was, and I had several. I may give you guys an update in about 6 months or a year, just to see if I get any onset of any other side effects or improvements, you know, after my husband and I have party time, you know, just to see what that experience is like. I will say I see a few hairs growing on my chin. I don't mind hair growing on my chin as long as I can pluck it, but I need the hair in my head to start growing where I have thin spots. So I'll see if I'll do that. I will address those issues. I can say that I'm glad I did this. I wish I had done it sooner, because those fibroids made my life a living hell. I was so miserable. My life was miserable. My relationships were miserable. I couldn't go anywhere because of fear. I remember one day, Little Bit and I were in Greensboro, and we went to go see her Aunt Sandra, who lives way out in Timbuktu. And on the way home, we decided to stop by a Walmart. You know, Walmarts are Walmarts, but different Walmarts might be a little better than, you know, other Walmarts. So we tried to go to this one Walmart, and we got in the store. We were doing a little shopping, and I felt something the bottom just fell out. Luckily, I had a long dress on and a black blazer. And I told my granddaughter, I said, we have to get out of here now. And it was about an hour drive home. And I went in the bathroom, and it was like whatever. And I don't like doing public bathrooms, but I had to. So I changed my pads. I keep them on me, or kept them on me, pads and my tampon. And we got in the car, and we started racing home. And I could just feel the bottom continue to fall out. And by the time I got home, all my clothes were soaked with blood. My brand new car seats were soaked in blood and everything. I just went in and I just got in the shower and I cleaned myself. So miserable. I couldn't go to church because miserable, you guys. I couldn't go to social functions because misery, you know. So I'm so glad I did it. I wish I had done it before. And I'll say the reason why I hadn't done it before, besides the reasons I specified in Greensboro, was I had planned on getting one, or thought about getting one before then, but then I was let people be in my ear, you know. This is the first thing they want to do to black women so they don't have any kids. And I thought to myself, I ain't having no more kids anyway. So, you know, it became this, and I'm like, look, I want to live, so I'm here now, and it's gone. I'm glad. The side effects that I'm having and the trade-off of being miserable, I'll take it. I mean, I hope it doesn't get really bad, but the no bleeding, the no spitting, you guys, I had to spend $100 or more a month on pads and tampons. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I wish I had done it sooner, and I don't regret getting it done. Now I'm hoping that that's why I said I might come back and do an update in 6 to 12 months. So that was what we thought was the underlying cause of my severe anemia. we don't know if that fixed it, because I'm still fatigued. I am taking iron supplements, and I was told to keep taking those. And I think I have an appointment with my regular general doctor at the end of July. I'm going to see if she will test my iron levels to see what they are. Because if they've improved, I know that that was definitely the reason. If they haven't, then there's something else going on that I have to figure out. I want my energy back, you guys. I want my energy back, because there's so much I want to do that I can't do. Yolanda, you want to go out for coffee? You want to go out for lunch? Girls, whatever. I can't. I just can't. I just don't have the energy to drive, the energy to sit and try to be social and knowing that I don't feel good. I do want to, you know, get that back. And just to get over this menopause. Now, I don't know how long this menopause is going to last. I've talked to women who said that it didn't even have it, and some who said that it took them a year or so. I just want to be over this menopause, you guys. Thank God he brought me through this surgery. I'm glad I did it. I hope this helps someone, basically. I hope the information was valuable to you. I'll put links, if I can remember, below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up, comment below, and share this video. Share to anyone you think might be going through it yourself, whatever the case may be, or just share it, period. You never know who it could reach and who it could help. But I want to thank you guys for taking time to listen to my story. And hopefully there will be an update, like I said, in 6 to 12 months. So I'm Yolanda Johnson-Bryant, and this has been The Other Side of the Dash.